Today, on Be Something Wonderful, make this affirmation your lullaby and wake up to a new reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video today. I want to talk about a client. Yesterday was our third session out of 3 sessions that we've had together. And in our first 2 sessions, it was really about saying, Tom, look, I've tried everything. And she went through all of these things that she's tried: robotic affirmations, seminars, coaching, state akin to sleep. She's conjured a dozen imaginal scenes, scripting, letting go, meditation, subliminals, all of that. But it was clear that there was so much effort, so much struggle, so much resistance. She said nothing is happening, no movement, right? Many changes that she wanted in her life, not seeing any of them, not perceiving anything. So what we had talked about as we walked through our first 2 sessions was give up all that effort. It doesn't matter which process that you pick. It's about moving to the vertical of that I amness. Remember, we talked about centering yourself in that I am identity. I am that I am, right? And then any process that you pick will work through you and as you. It was really about that. And she did a couple things. She came up with her own cool core process that she would go to. Something that became her. She even came up with her own lullaby, and right, that I want to talk about today. And so what she said is, I just want to stop the insanity, right? Remember, it wasn't about giving up the processes. It was giving up the resistance, giving up the effort, giving up the struggle. There's nothing wrong with any of these processes. They're all powerful in their own right. They're all of them, because remember, you are the process. This was really what I was reminding her of. That these are not outside of her. She doesn't have to make something happen. She just simply moved into the vertical. That I am awareness, more awareness on her I am, right? And she moved in there with a simple technique that we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to show you how she got there. And then within her first week of really just letting go of all that insanity, all that craziness, she had a specific person in mind, this mutual friend that never showed interest in her, asked her out, always wanted him to, but finally asked her out. And she had this impending, which she said, an impending tax bill. I guess she extended her return a few times, trying to avoid paying that. What her accountant is telling her, her tax person or the tax team, is that actually she's getting a small refund. This is all her, like looking at things differently, stopping to effort. It wasn't necessarily that she was even focused on these 2 things. These were just 2 things within many things that she wanted to change in her life, right? And she's starting to see that. And this is her giving up the insanity of trying to make something happen out there. Giving up the insanity of going from process to process, imaginal scene to imaginal scene, trying to make something happen, right? So let's hit this. Let's talk about this idea. And there was another client that I also want to mention that I had one session with that wrote me after a session. This is a client who's already really, really a powerful creator that I shared her insights as a subscriber on the channel, as she came up with her own epiphanies and had these other big sort of manifestations in her life, one being reconciling with her son. I want to share some of her insights. So here's really what was going on with this client. Remember that we talk about every moment is a frame of reality. And we're talking about imagining your desired frame. And I've showed this idea of the lifeline or the script or the reality that you're on, in that this black would represent the past frame of reality. This would be your present frame, not necessarily the now moment, but the present frame that you see around you, the present frame, your present situation in your life, whatever you're seeing around you, and then your future imaginal frame, the frame that you want to make changes, right? And so here you are, right? Here are those 3 frames always being lit up, always potential, always can change into anything. Past, present, and future is happening right now. All three of those frames can change into anything you want. Yet there are certain appearances of those frames. There's an appearance of the past frame that you're remembering. There's an appearance of the current frame that you're seeing out there. Also that is in your thoughts, that you're having thoughts about. And then there's your imagined future frame, right? And so even as she was imagining it, you see, she was imagining it, it felt like she was going bottom up, right? She's still that I am identity, but she was taking her cues from those appearances. Do you see it? She was being influenced. See where the arrows are going? Influenced by the appearances. That's trying to make stuff happen from the bottom up. You're looking out there at the appearances, wanting to change them, trying all of those processes. It was a lot of doing, even as you imagine, even as you affirm, even as you script and meditate. You believe in, you expect, and you assume the 3D appearances to continue as 3D experiences. Do you see it? So these 3D appearances are just appearances. They're changing all the time, past, present, and future. All frames are changing. All frames are in potential. All frames can be whatever you want. You can change all time in any moment. But as you continue to imagine and affirm and try to make something happen by being influenced by these appearances, bottom up, being it, see where the arrows are going, influence, even as you imagine a better future, you're being influenced by these appearances. And so you keep having the same 3D experiences. Those appearances turn into the same experiences. That's what was going on, right? Those appearances, those conditions are not source. Those conditions are not source. You are. Do you see it? But they become source when you believe in them, when you're influenced by them. And they create those same 3D experiences, right? You're identifying more with the experiences and appearances, the appearances and the experiences, right? The past experiences, than your imagined end, than your imagined reality. You're identifying more with these appearances, even as you imagine you're being influenced, and the experiences that are the same as those appearances, then your imagined reality, the only reality, what you imagine it to be. Your assumptions are the only reality, right? And as you check for movement, you're creating from the bottom up. As you check for movement, as you look at the appearances and go, nothing's changed, you keep having the same experiences. That's what we mean by bottom-up creating. Do you see? You're going up the bottom. You've got the appearances bearing down on you as you try to create something new here, but you keep ending up with the same old experiences. That's a powerful visual today. Even Joe, the spiritual cat. I love that cat. I gotta tell you. I love that guy. So creative. Even Joe, the spiritual cat, gets it. Joe's not chasing the red dot anymore. And so as you look at these appearances, that's what's creating. You're saying they're source. You're not source. See, you're source, but from the bottom up, you're giving those appearances the power to be source, and they're not source. And you keep creating the same experiences. That's powerful today. Let's move to the next item. So what do you want to do instead? This is very clear. This is what she got, and she developed her own way, her own method to do this. I am source, and there is no other. That became her lullaby. I've already mentioned this to a few clients today, or yesterday and the day before. I love this, right? It's even in some ways there's more power today. You're going directly, you're saying you are source, the one and only source of your reality. It's like I am God, there is no other. But you're just saying, you're reminding yourself, here's what she's doing. She's reminding herself that these appearances are not source. These temporary conditions that are always changing are not source, that she is, right? I am source, and that became her lullaby. And remember, it's reciprocal. You're creating from the I am identity as that I am identity. You're being instead of doing. So here, now you're creating from the top down, and it's reciprocal. As those appearances, those conditions that are always changing, that becomes your only reality, because your only reality is what you're imagining. It's a reciprocal exchange with Source. What you're imagining and what Source is imagining for you. Right? Do you see that? All frames, all identities, all realities are always in potential, even as you have your 3D experiences of appearances. Right? You're having experiences of these appearances, but it's reciprocal now. You are calling what you imagine, what you assume, the only reality. So that must be the only reality in the appearances and the experiences. As remember, when you turn to God, God turns to you. God's always with you, but you're the operant power. You're the one that makes it happen. You make it happen from up here. You're being it. Do you see it? Do you see the difference from that bottom up? By belief, notice I made the experiences very solid here, because you believe they're solid. You believe it appears more solid. The experiences appear more solid as you look at the experiences appear more solid as you look at the appearances as the source, as you look at those, as you have those influence what you want to create. Do you see it? But here, as you know that you are Source and there's no other, you make that your lullaby. We're going to talk about what else she did. And you imagined your desired end. Now you're not making those experiences solid. You're saying those are always changing. But they're always changing into what you are imagining and assuming in every moment. Do you see it? So everything's in potential, but it's in the potential of what you want. It's always turning into your potential reality, your assumed reality, what you want. Right? Make your inner reality the only reality. Here are sort of some of the steps that I gleaned from her process and how she got immediate movement. Make your inner reality the only reality. Assume and imagine, state akin to sleep, or whatever your process is, whether it's just a conviction and a decision within that I'm going to assume this new reality, I'm going to move to it, or you're actually doing a state akin to sleep where you create an imaginal scene, and you put yourself in that scene, a simple scene where you put yourself in the action before you go to sleep, and then you fall asleep to that scene, what Neville Goddard talks about. Whatever you do there, or you do a simple, so here, assume and imagine your identity or reality via a simple scene or frame or assumption. Create a frame of reality, an assumption of reality, or a scene or an imaginal scene, whatever your process is, right? Affirm that scene. That becomes your only reality, right? And then assume that all appearances and experiences, these are the appearances, and all the experiences, right, are in potential and always changing into your imagined end. Do you see it versus here, saying, oh man, look at those appearances and having those influence you, and then saying these experiences just keep getting more solid. I keep seeing more unwanted reality. See everything as in play and changing into what you want. Make I am Source, there is no other, your lullaby, your mantra, your go-to affirmation. So she did a state akin to sleep. She didn't, in her case, she didn't actually imagine any particular scene. She just imagined that she just had that lullaby, I am Source and there is no other, and made the absolute assumption and decision that that her life is getting better, that everything's falling in place for her, that everything is hers because she's Source. That's all she did. That's what she did. She could imagine a scene. She could have gotten specific, but she did in this case. She just wanted to imagine it. She wanted to move from all that effort, release all that effort that she was doing, right? But now we're talking about her conjuring up specific scenes, things that she wants to call forth. Hear this. Hear the steps that we created around this. Make your inner reality the only reality. I am Source and there is no other. Assume, imagine a state akin to sleep, or just a firm decision to be that person that you want to be now via a simple scene or frame or assumption. Whatever that is, create that frame of reality, your imagined frame right here, right? Then assume all appearances and experiences, all experiences are potential and are always changing into your imagined end, right? Make the I am source, there is no other, your lullaby, your mantra, your go-to affirmation. That's what she made it. It's her go-to affirmation now. Whenever she thinks of that. That is powerful. And then there was I want to talk about another client who I've talked to in about a few videos now. And the first one was a big video about how she created, through just absolutely seeing her son differently, this reconciliation with her son after years of them not talking, right? So she sent me an email. We finally had a session. So although I've done a few videos on her powerful insights, right? She's a powerful creator, right? We were just talking about reality creation and this whole thing. So we finally got to meet face to face or Zoom to Zoom, right? And this is what she wrote, a beautiful email after the session, that the next day, I think it was yesterday. I really felt the support, encouragement, and just a quiet sense of being in alignment after our visit on Zoom. I thought that was beautiful. In other words, what is she really saying? I am source. There is no other. It's her beingness. This is her. She's already in that alignment. That's already who she is. But it was a really nice thing that we sort of both feeling that alignment as we chatted, right? And then she says this. This is beautiful. Right after we got off the call, it came to me to reach out to my realtor to see if there was any activity on a property, on the property that had fallen through. I think she mentioned a property that had fallen through on the call, right, that we had talked about during our conversation. And so she was just giving me what happened with that property, where that deal appearances, right, appeared to fall through, right? Creating an experience of a deal that fell through, right? But her knowing that she is source and there is no other, right? Not disturbed by that. She called that realtor, remember, 3D appearance and experience, the deal falling through. She said, her realtor said this, your ears must have been burning. We were just getting ready to call you to tell you we have a cash offer. Hear the, wow, 180. From a deal falling through to now not just an offer, but a cash offer on this real estate. Ready to close in 2 weeks. She says, wow, so grateful. She goes, I thought I didn't do anything, but as you said, it's all a matter of being. She goes, I thought I didn't do anything. Well, you're not really doing. It's not about doing, because it's about being. So she didn't do anything. She beat it. She was being. That's powerful. Really lines up with that other client's experience, right? So what is it? What do we talk about here? Make this affirmation your lullaby and wake up to a new reality. This is how that first client woke up to a new reality. I am sourced and there is no other. It's the assumption of your new reality, your new identity, via a simple imaginal act or frame of reality, or an assumption or firm decision that I am that, and or. Right? Either way, that's going to get you. But whatever resonates with you, or a scripting, whatever it does, then that top-down reality creation, law of assumption, I'm already that which I want to be. You're now creating from the top down, right? Versus trying to make something happen from here, being influenced and believing in those appearances. Right? You're trying to make something here by believing in these appearances, and you're creating the same old experiences. Instead, you're going to go top down from that I am awareness, from that center, I am source, there is no other. You're going to feel the reciprocity with your source. And know that all of these appearances and all of these experiences are always in play. They're always in potential. But they're always changing in what you want them to change into as you align with that, making your imagined reality what you want your only reality. Right? Claiming and announcing your new reality as the one and only reality. right? That's what Scripture was saying is, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Your word or your assumption in your affirmation is source. In the beginning was my assumption, my imaginal scene, what I wanted. And that imaginal scene, that assumption was source. And that imaginal scene, that assumption was God. Oh, it was with source, and that imaginal scene was source. So in the beginning was my assumption, was my imaginal scene, was what I wanted, my desired fulfilled. And that desired fulfilled was with God. And that assumption and that affirmation and that fulfillment and that reality that I want was God. Right? Your word, your assumption, your affirmation is source. There is no other. Right? And so you turn your new assumptions and your 3D experiences into the only reality versus the appearances into the same old experiences. Make this affirmation your lullaby and wake up to a new reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining our membership channel. If you've joined, thank you for joining. If you haven't, you can check it out. There's a link below. There's exclusive content on the channel. There's another video that we're queuing up to upload to the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. We also have a live stream that will be announced this weekend, probably tomorrow. I will announce the date on that. We'll post that on the site. You will see that. And just lots more coming, guys. This is Tom Kearin with Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude. Creators and Joe, the spiritual cat. We'll see you soon.